what I want to say as it relates to policy at the state. For my life, education has been the foundation of everything. Without it, I wouldn't be a senator, period. I couldn't even speak. And I have to tell you that it is sorry that people in our executive branch are unwilling to comprehend the policy that is already written in statute. So if our own executive branch can't do the hard work to analyze how archaic our policy is, and they're unwilling to do, as my first grade teacher, Anna Louise Larson, used to say, you got to put some elbow grease into it. She used to say that, elbow grease, which means that you understand, you comprehend, and you can articulate. I guarantee right now that Governor Nixon cannot articulate the problems that exist in a 30-year-old transfer bill. I guarantee it. I guarantee it that he cannot articulate all of the mechanisms that we put into Senate Bill 493 that allow students to remain in their district or to transfer, and how it would financially help the district that is sending some students away. I guarantee it. So here's what I'm saying. If our executive branch is unwilling to comprehend their responsibility, which is to have sound policy, that's where it starts. I did my job, and I have gray hairs to show it. Didn't have any gray hairs last year. Now I do.
The young man, yes, sir.
Yeah, I was just going to say that as I listen, I have had the blessing to work with a lot of the youth that,
can you speak up just a bit?
A lot of the youth that you talk about that you feel are failing and things of that nature. And I've never worked with youth that was a failure or any of that titles that I hear given. All of them have been successful with the right motivation. And I would say to you that it's tough to ask someone that comes out and their neighborhood looks a certain way and they have crime and different things going on, and then you tell them that when they get this education, it's going to be great. And when they look at their big brother, their big cousin, whoever, they complaining about they can't break the glass ceiling. And the only people you see that are shown to you, that are successful, that look like you, that make millions, are athletes, singers, reality show people, and people that didn't even need a degree. So when you talk about the kids not showing up, not interested, whatever, if you talk about coming to basketball practice, it could be 6 in the morning. Those same kids who you saying are failing, they'll be there at basketball practice at 6 in the morning because they feel like if they are great in basketball, they might be a millionaire. If they're great at singing, they might be a millionaire. So you have to give the kids, and you have to fight for the kids to be able to see that if I get this education, that I can be successful. And most people in here, and let's keep it real, you got your education and you probably thought you'll be doing something on a certain level by now. And you're not where you want to be. You're doing something that you had to do. And those kids see that. And so when I talk to a lot of the kids, they say to me, man, what? You want me to go get education so I can be like you? I'm being real. So let's be for real about the reality about these kids. Because I think all the kids are all great, and I think they all can be successful.
They all can learn.
And they all can learn.
We're going to take 2 Brown and the panel to give just some closing remarks, starting with the senators, and she will close out. Yes?
Okay, my name is Wes Pratt. I'm from Missouri State University. I'm actually the Equal Opportunity Officer, but I've sort of listened to all the conversation, and I guess it gets down to, we know there are some complex issues associated with what we have to deal with. So what is it that we can do? As I listened to the gentleman talk a while ago, I'm of the mind that I was up here last week. I drove up here. We started a brother-to-brother program in Springfield, Missouri, but there's a leadership camp going on at Missouri State University, but it's run by a brother out of New Jersey who was one of the facilitators for our brother-to-brother leadership program in Springfield. That is modeled after the Student African American Ambassadors, our brotherhood program that was established by a brother named Dr. Tyrone Bledsoe in Akron, Ohio, about 25 years ago. That's sort of modeled after the Promise program that's run by the president. I can't think of the name of it right now. But the reality is I drove up here last week to pick up 9 brothers from St. Louis to take them to have an experience in a leadership camp in Springfield, Missouri, Missouri State. We organized our young men, high school and college, to develop their leadership skills and their abilities. The other thing goes back to what we do as parents. We've touched on it. Parents have got to be involved in their educational development for their students. We've got to hold the school districts accountable for the policies that are in our local community that affect or don't affect our young people. The other part of that is our young people have to understand, yes, there are folks who have there are issues of microaggression and stereotype threat that they have to cope with and deal with, but we have to make sure that we can equip them to deal with those particular issues. We have to elect school board members who are responsive to an agenda that promotes the development of our young people. I work with the NAACP, I work with Minorities in Business in Springfield, and we are holding the school district accountable by going to those meetings and listening to what's going on with our young people, developing programs that deal with the academic achievement gap. And when I listen to all the stuff that's, it's complex, it's critical, but it is labor intensive. And it requires all of us to get off our butts and do what is necessary for the salvation of our young people. They definitely, and think about it, this is an issue of national security. If our young people are not equipped, if they're not equipped to come after us, to run the businesses, to deal with the financial markets, to understand that everything that we do has a global impact in a global economy, in a global society, then these are the sorts of things that we have to be about the business of doing. It's simple as that, but it's labor intensive. And sometimes that hard work is what we sort of run away from these days.
Evidently, as we begin to count, I said 2 more questions and I had 4 hands up. That's going to be okay. But after those, we really have to move on so we can stay on the target. This young lady here has a question.
Yeah, I have a question. It was brought to my attention that there's some legislation out there saying that they're trying to get the right for teachers to have guns in the classrooms. And can you all talk about that? Because it's not been mentioned too much on the news at all. I know I was at a community organizational event and somebody was passing out literature about voting against that. As legislators, what are you all doing to knock that bill out the way? Because you already have the zero tolerance thing where the victim is getting the same consequences as the bully because it's a zero tolerance thing. So then you have teachers in their classrooms that's not doing anything about what's going on right now on this level without a gun. So then you have a teacher. I mean, how can a kid feel, level-headed or not feel scared if a teacher's standing there with a gun? So what are you all doing to get that out the way?
Just to be real quick, because there are other people who want to speak, we're trying to get the guns out of the kids' hands.
Well,
in their backpacks.
Yeah, there's also a law for that too.
The governor did veto that bill. There was a movement on ARA and other, amendment to codes. They want to have guns in schools, and I don't think that's sensible. We need to get the guns out of our kids' hands.
Right. There's also a law about 19-year-olds